No problem.
Okay, so people can see my screen now. Okay, so I'm pretty much excited to share some learnings related to Salesforce Flows. My name is Seham Siddiqui, and first of all, thanks to the sponsors of Pakistan Dreaming for making this possible to share the knowledge and to, to making this possible for us to connect. So I'm four X Salesforce certified, working as Salesforce consultant and cloud nutrition advisors. I'm Trailhead Ranger, and I'm also co-leading uh, admin group for Karachi, and I'm also a web developer. So that's pretty much my background. So we are going to learn about Salesforce flows, a basic understanding what are flows, why, where we can use it, and when to use them. Uh, we are going to discuss some type of the flow, and we'll have a quick hands-on experience. How can we build Salesforce flows, and what are the components? Uh, what are the tools? So Salesforce flows allows you to automate business processes. So and it also empowers the admin to build some automations without the help of a developer, without going to a developer and asking them to create some automations. uh, and the Salesforce has made the flows so amazing, so they have enhanced the Salesforce flows, uh, and and it is very powerful now that you can create that admin can create some complex automations, and flows can execute your logic automations, updating, creating, deleting the records. Even they can invoke apex classes, uh, and you can also take input or create flows to interact with users, the end users, and execute uh, your business logic. So these are some types of the flows. So we have two types of flows: screen flows and auto launch flows. And auto launch flows has these four types: schedule triggered, record triggered, platform event triggered, and auto launch. So I'm just going to give you the overview on schedule triggered, platform event triggered, and auto launch. But we'll review the screen flows and record triggered flows in detail. So first of all, schedule triggered is something that is equivalent to the batch process, or you can say the not batch process. Basically, if you schedule any class in Salesforce, it is equivalent to something. So, for example, I want all my leads created today should be marked as junk, or should be marked as important. Uh, I have, let's say, I have a custom field over there, uh, and my business process is to update all the leads created today, update the checkbox to true, and I want to do it on a scheduled basis, like every day in the morning or every day afternoon, so I can build this automation right in the flows without writing any code, without scheduling any Apex class. Platform event is basically it triggers when a platform event is generated. So I'm not sure if anyone knows about the platform events here, but this is something. It is used in integrations that Salesforce can generate platform events, and on the basis of those events, you can trigger some actions. Auto launch is auto launch can be invoked by Apex classes, and or using some other flows, you can invoke the uh, the auto launch flows. So uh, screen flows. Let's discuss about screen flows. It is equivalent to somewhat LWCs. It is used when it is required, a user interaction is required, or you want to show some messages or display some some messages, or you want to take some input from the user, or an interaction is required. So somewhat similar to, or an alternative of LWC components. Trigger triggered is something, um, is comparable with Apex triggers. So this allows uh, the admins to write some automations on the basis of, some changes in the database, and they can write some automations on the basis of whenever a record is created, updated, or deleted. Is there any question here? Let me just quickly see. Sorry, not sure what's happening. Okay, so no questions so far. Uh, okay, I have this. We're going to have quick hands-on experience on and see how we can create some flows and some basic understandings of flows. So I have this playground org. Clicking on setup, and search for flows here, and clicking new flow will redirect us to this page where we can see the types of the flows, and it's asking us which type of flow we want to create. So we'll talk about the screen flow first. Let's create a screen flow. So this area is called canvas. And this is your toolbox, and let me just quickly. This is the auto layout design, and if I just click freeform, and you can see these elements have some categories. This is the data related elements, these are some logic related elements, and this is interaction related elements. If I click manager, I can create some resources here which is equivalent to uh, variables to store some values or create formulas, uh, and all that stuff. uh, I I don't like using auto layout. I'm more inclined to freeform. Uh, they made this auto layout generally available in the last release, and it is quite amazing. But I like using freeform. So this is our screen component, and this is the header section. This is the footer action, and this is the body where we're going to uh, add some components. We can see the components over here, like we have addresses, checkbox, checkbox group, currency, date. These are the inputs, and we have fields which is currently in beta phase, and so we're going to skip this as it is now in the beta phase. Uh, and this is the screen properties, the attributes, or for each component you're going to create, you have to write the you need to give API name to. And this is the header configuration, this is the footer configuration. I can hide the header, I can hide the footer, I can hide some of these buttons, like hiding the pause button, um, and use a custom label for the next button. Let's say finish, or let's say uh, next screen, and this label is going to appear here. So we can rename the labels of these buttons. For now, let's keep it the standard label. Let's name this uh, screen first screen. Okay, so let's let's uh, uh, let's say we want to take input from the user, and we have to create uh, an account on the basis of those information. So for example, what we can do is we can just add or take name. So I drop this name component here. It has first name, last name, and we can just quickly add, or just let me first write the API name here. So I use account name. These are some of the attributes of this components. API name disabled. No, we don't want it to be disabled. We want user to edit this. Which fields to display? So uh, I can just add middle name here, and this is going to appear. Or if I just want to remove any of them, I can remove as well, and I can see the last one only appears. So uh, let's just uh, key first name and last name for now. We can set a default value for these. We can rename the, or we can uh, choose another label. We can write our own. We want it to be read only, or we want to add salutation or not. Some of the component visibility, we'll talk about this later. And let's take phone. So here we have the phone component here, and let's give it a name. So we can set any patron, we can set a placeholder here. We can set if it is required or not, and we can give us default value to this component. So this is done, and this is the element, and these called connectors, these circles, and we have to connect these circles, and this is called connections, or you can say links or edges or path. So we have connected this screen, and we want to create an account with this information, whatever user is going to input. So these are the DMLs uh, related elements. So we want to create a record, so we're going to use this one, and let's name this create account. We want to create only one. It's basically asking how many records you want to create. So let's say we want to create only one account. how to set the values. So we want to set each field as individual. So we want to create an account, so we can select account, uh, let's say account name and phone. That's the information that we want to use to create the account. And here you can see the screen components. Under the screen components, we have account name that we have just added to the screen. Clicking this arrow, and we can have our first name or last name. Let's use last name for now. Similarly, clicking the value input, we edit the account phone, and clicking on this, selecting the value will give us the value of the field the user is going to input it, and clicking done. We have to connect this. It is connected now, and in the last, we're going to show a message that the record has been created. So a success message. So let's call it a success screen, and we're going to use to display text. We're going to use the display text component. We're going to name this success message, and we can write whatever we want in the in. It's going to show us in the rich text. So let's say um, success, the the account has been created. We can change the color of the text as well, the formatting and all. And let's show the account ID here. To show the account ID, what we can do, we can just click insert a resource, and we can see variables. So when we use create account, we all know that when you insert a record, it returns the ID. So we can see account ID from create account. Using this resource will show us the account ID when it is created. And done. Let's save this, create account. And so there are a few things that I want to share. Is this is the first version of the flows, and we can have up to 100 version of the flows. Once it is activated, once a flow is activated, you cannot change it. You have to create another version or save it as a new flow, and you can have up to 100 versions. Clicking save, and we can see that there are two buttons, run and debug. So whenever we write our code, we debug it, we run it several times to see if it is working properly or not. Similarly, in the flows, in the screen flows, we can debug. So clicking this button, it will take us to a new window where we can run this flow and read the debug logs, and try to see if it is working correctly or not. So this shows this shows our debug flows options. And no, we don't have any input variables. These are some options, debug options. We are not going to change this. Just clicking the run button, and it's going to show us the our flow. So this is how it's going to display for the users when we're going to uh, add this flow on different screens. So let's say first name is ABC, or let's say this test ABC company. Phone number, let's say No, no. Okay, clicking next. So we can see the account has been created and we have this ID. Let's copy this and see if the record is created in the Salesforce or not. Um, Going back here, clicking accounts. Yes, there's the uh, there is the record that we have created, and we can see the debug logs here. We can see how the flow started and what were the initial values, and I can see that the ABC company is is added into the last name input. Test was the first name, and this is the number I put in the phone. Uh, we can see that the create account component executed and it created the account, and here's the ID. Moving forward, let's quickly have record triggered flow. Let's see record triggered flow, how it works, what what options it has, and how different it is from the screen flow. So the difference here is in the elements. It does not have the screen component. So we can configure the record triggered flow by adding the object. So which object we want to create the record triggered flow. Let's say account, and we can set the configuration, like whenever a record is created or updated, or a record is deleted. uh, so uh, let's say whenever a record is created, no, we don't want to use any conditions. And let's say we want to just update any field. Clicking this plus icon, we can add decisions, assignments, loop, some these are related to the logic. And let's say whenever a record is created, we want uh, create now. No condition is required. These are some of the options that use the account record that triggered the flow. So we are going to use the record that triggered the flow, and let's say we we want to update this checkbox, the active checkbox, to yes, and done. So this is a basic flow. uh, Triggered flow. Without activating this, we can debug this, and it's asking for the account to test on. So we can select the account that we have just created, and we can see that it uh, it executed perfectly. And we can see the highlighted yellow path that's showing us that these are the elements has been executed, and we can see the debug logs, and we can see the update records, and update the records with these fields, and we can see the active is equivalent to yes. And uh, and the and the one more thing that I want to add is, whenever we debug record triggered flows, it basically run in a rollback mode. So it won't change your actual data. And previously we saw that stream flow is actually creating the data in the database, but in record triggered flows, it rollbacks all the changes, and your actual data doesn't change. So uh, I scheduled for a 30-minute slot. And I think it's time. And I know I wasn't able to cover not much. And question here: if you perform trigger with specific time, we use schedule. Uh, in record triggered, we can set a scheduled action. We can set like uh, we can do that. Let me just quickly show. I know we are. So we can just click this. uh, I think it is saved now or something. Okay, when we have to click, when we have selected the actions and radio records, we can click this icon and click done. And we can see that we have two scheduled paths. We can edit it, and we can create our own one. And I can see that we have a time source. We can see the offset to, and we can add like after the created on the whenever the record is created. Let's say if it is created today, after 2 days this action should run. And we can see schedule, and we can see that I can just create or add another path for this. So you can run scheduled path as well, or schedule triggered as well in the record triggered flow. I hope that's the answer of your question. uh, and we are done. So thank you for joining. I hope you have learned. Thank you, everyone.